There we are. We are live right now with Michael Whitehouse. Awesome. Yay. And if you click on comments on the side, you will have some, hopefully.
Talk to me.
Yay. So awesome. Now you and I know each other because of my friend Janet, I think.
Yes, that
Is
sounds
that
right.
correct? Yes. How do you know her?
I met her through a connection through BNI.
Oh,
Yep.
now I
So
didn't see that coming.
yep. So
That's awesome.
BNI has you with the local chapters, but then the local chapters feed into there's some national networking, and I did the national networking because networking is kind of my jam.
Yeah, no, and that's what I want to talk to you about. I want to get some background on you first because I did my due diligence, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But networking is something every single business, whether you sell what cars, lipstick, face cream, everybody needs to network. I think
Mm-hmm.
we have a listener from Alaska on already, and
Yep.
Richmond. Yay, yay, yay. Yeah, usually we have people from all over. I hope
Nice.
my buddy from Ireland's on. She's always fun.
Exciting.
But yeah, the Janet, I don't know if you know how I know her. She used to work at corporate Avon,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
that's my main gig. She worked there for many, many years.
Mm-hmm. If
So,
she
and
done that.
oh, she did. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we kept in touch. So, yay. That's how I'm glad she connected us. That's
Mm-hmm.
awesome. How
Yeah.
long have you been doing BNI?
So I've been doing BNI for I don't know 3-4 years on and off. I've been a couple different chapters because it's a matter of finding the right one, finding one that fits. But really what I'm all about with the networking is making 1 + 1 = 11.
Oh, nice.
So making the kind of connection. So for example, I work with speakers, and I call myself a speaker concierge because I introduce speakers to stages,
Oh,
and the kind of speakers who know how to sell from a stage.
mhm,
Not necessarily paid speakers, that's a whole different thing. Bureaus do that. But the speakers who know how to sell from the stage, they've got a great program, it offers great value, and it is equivalently expensive. So they can
mhm,
make good revenues from a good stage.
mhm.
But they need to find the stage. No, they know how to, but they don't want to because it's not worth their time. Or it's better to hire someone who's more specialized in making those connections. That's what I do. I connect the speakers to the people with the stages, and it ends up being a win-win-win because the speaker, of course, they make money, they make sales. This
Yeah, yeah.
person who has the stage gets quality speakers, and the audience wins because if you're going to buy a $10,000 program, it's because you expect to make $100,000 from it. So if they
Right.
get up there and they make 3 sales, well, that's $300,000 of value coming in the audience. So I'm all about.
So you must have to be thinking of who the people in BNI know because from my experience, BNI is more like plumbers and real estate agents.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
necessarily speakers, right?
So BNI is one of the places I network, and it's where I do more local things and develop my local network. And that's almost more so I can be of service to my local community. When COVID hit, I moved from being a local networker to being a global networker.
Ooh.
So the local networker, I knew anyone you wanted to know in New London County, Connecticut, which is a fairly modest size area. Once COVID hit and everything went online, I was visiting first BNI chapters, then other virtual networking events all over the world. I'm now at the point where I know investors, I know 7-8 figure coaches, I know real estate investors and moguls. I'm now to the point where someone comes to me and says, "Hey, I got a business I'm launching. We need $500,000 of investment capital. It's a good solid program. We just need the money put in." I
Mhm.
have people introduce them to. If someone
Yeah.
says, "I've got a great real estate opportunity, I'm looking for the investors for it," I know people introduce them to. So I've now got the people at that level. And so you're right. A lot of people in BNI tend to be more consumer focused. It's more the not plumbers usually because there's not enough plumbers, so they have people knocking down their door. But
They
your
don't have to go look
carpenters,
for
your mortgage
help.
brokers, your realtors. But through BNI, they have networks, and through them I can meet local executives, bank leaders, chamber leaders, political leaders, people like that. So there's still value to it, but in terms of where I'm going now with the speaker concierge is kind of a different direction, working at a higher level. But it's also good because I can connect top to bottom. I
Now,
can someone.
do you mind saying what BNI is? Because a lot of people
Sure.
here probably don't know what that is.
So BNI is Business Network International. It is a structured networking group. So we meet every week. There's only one person per category. So of course, in my category, with business coach, networking coach, whatever you call it, I can have my pick. There's plenty of empty seats. If you're a mortgage broker, if you're a real estate agent, if you're a
It's tougher,
property
huh?
casual insurance, like you wait for someone to die and then you try to take.
Oh, geez.
or retire.
That's not good. Yeah,
They
that's
usually
not
retire
good.
before they die. But it's those are very in demand seats, because if you're in real estate, it's all about networking, and
Right.
there's only one seat per chapter. So you see one of those open up. Like our mortgage seat is open for now, which I expect to last for about a hot second, because once it's open, I'm going to the mortgage brokers I know in my network and saying, hey, I got a hot lead for you. There's a BNI seat open.
Yeah.
Come on down, come on visit the chapter and put in your application, so the membership committee will consider you. So it's a really valuable seat for those kinds of folks. And then there's I have my hands in a few different pots, but my main focus is the kind of higher end introduction. But like my wife just bought one of those glow forges. I've heard of that. It's the laser engraver.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So she got one of those because she wanted to get it as a hobby thing, and I said that could be a business thing, which means we can buy it now and not 5 years from now. And she's like, let's make a business.
Yeah.
So for that, I do need to connect with local realtors. I need to connect with local insurance folks and contractors and those kinds of folks. So there's always value in having all kind. It's great to know 100 high-end coaches, but none of those are going to help me when the gutter on my roof starts peeling away from the building. That was my handyman from BNI. I called in to fix that. So you have to have a broad network.
The guy that came up with that is a genius, Ivan Meisner.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching him this week. He spent this past week with Richard Branson on Necker Island. Yeah, that's nice to see pictures of him at breakfast with Richard Branson. It's like, oh my God. But anyway, so if you don't know this whole thing about Ivan Meisner, by the way, he's got some awesome books too.
Mm-hmm.
You might want to grab those.
Yes.
The BNI thing is a great way to get started in networking, wouldn't you say? Or would you, if someone was on here and hasn't done any networking, or any official networking, I should say, would you start with something like BNI, or would you go with the Chamber of Commerce, or what do you think you'd jump into first?
I'd start with this book.
Oh, that's a place to start. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did write my story in The Guy Who Knows a Guy. And in 2014, when I moved here, I knew zero people, nobody. Like I didn't know family, I didn't know friends, I didn't have coworkers. I started my own business. And one of the first things I started with the Chamber. Because the Chamber you can just walk into and what's up. But BNI was really what took it to the next level. And then I leveraged the connections from BNI and actively engaging to build the network, which has built into my Guy Who Knows a Guy network. So chambers are kind of an easy entry point. It's easy to start. It's also easy to get nothing out of it, but it's easy to start. It's low pressure. You go to a business after hours, and they're pretty much the same. They have different names, but it's some kind of after hours networking event. Sometimes they're before hours. Some are 10 people. Some are 500 people. But they're all fundamentally similar in that you pay some amount to get in. There's some kind of refreshments. It's kind of a party reception cocktail hour sort of vibe. You can get a glass of wine and some nice hors d'oeuvres. And it's a great way to dip your toe into networking. If you're worried about like, oh, I don't know how to do this. Well, do you know how to drink a glass of wine and eat really good food? Go to a networking event and just kind of wing it to begin with. And you'll be standing there, holding your plate of crudité and your glass of wine, and someone will come over and be like, hi. Now, in some events, they're going to come over and be like, hi, I sell insurance. Want to buy some insurance? At other events, they'll say, hi, who are you looking to meet? And they'll actually be better networkers. But it's a very low pressure way to sort of get out there and make connections before you know what you're doing.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, so the way I've always taught how to go into these things is not thinking I'm going to join the chamber for what I'm going to get out of it.
Yes.
I'm going to go to the chamber or BNI or whatever else I'm doing for what I'm going to give for value, because
Yes.
you end up getting. Am I on base with that?
Yep, that's actually exactly where I was going to go next. So I was talking to the person who's never networked, and they're like, networking? I don't know if I can do that. For them, just try going once with no objective. Your objective is to drink a glass of wine and eat some good food. And if you meet someone, great, bonus. It's to like feel the temperature of the water. Learn how you register and where to put the name tag, and get the basics. So you can be a little more relaxed the second time you go, because you actually know what you know what the room looks like. It's a different place, but you can see the same person at the table, handing out badges the second time. But yes, once you're getting into networking, it is all about, BNI has a concept called giver's gain, which is that you focus on giving, and naturally the universe will cause you to gain, which sounds very woo-woo. It's not. It's if you're a nice person, people want to do business with you. But so you go in thinking, what value do I have to offer? What introductions can I make? And not what can I sell, because the thing I sell is amazing and everyone will gain from it. But how can I help? Now, your business may be, how can I help? So you may be, let's say you're with Isogenics or Shackley or someone like that who actually helps people with health issues, or you're a chiropractor, or you're someone like that. Then you are thinking, how can I help? But it's not, who can I sell? It's, you're listening for someone to be like, oh man, I'm always so tired by 5 PM, and these things are so tough for me. I know I need to be here, but I'm just so tired. Instead of thinking, I can sell you something, you should be thinking, I can help you with something. So like something I might lead with is that I started juicing. I guess it was like almost a year ago now. And now I have more energy. So by 5 PM, I'm not, and I can teach you how to juice for free. Like, I just tell you, go buy a juicer at Walmart and put in what I do, kale and parsley and apples and whatever.
Not kale. Not
And,
kale. Oh God.
And the matcha powder, that's another ingredient. Anyway, I can tell you how to juice for free. And if you're with one of those companies, you probably know a bunch of those quick, easy, like slight diet adjustments that might help. Give them that kind of tip, and then they might say, oh, how are you so wise in the ways of science? You say, well, I actually work with a company. We do a lot of supplements and shakes and blah, blah, blah. But you present it as solving their problem. And this is as salesy as you should ever get. Because really you want to be thinking, if they happen to mention that they're, the gutter is peeling off the roof of their house, you want to be thinking, I know a guy who can fix that. I've got a handyman who actually answers the phone when you call him, and I can introduce you. You're solving a problem. And how can I solve their problems with an introduction, or with advice, or with a free sample, or something that doesn't ask of them to give to them first. So in that conversation, you're kind of trying to feel out, what are your challenges? What are your problems? So you might ask questions like, what do you like best about your business? Which will often get also what they don't like about their business. What do I like best? I love working with people, but I hate, because people love talking about what they hate. Well, I love helping people, but I hate trying to find clients. Really? Funny you should mention that.
No, BNI is like that, except they've got it down to a science where you're required to connect people.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
It's not just a nice thing to do. You all have to come with some connections for somebody else, right?
I mean, that makes it sound a bit more obligated,
I meant it in a good way.
Yeah. Yes. So you are supposed to bring referrals. So it's not a matter of, I'm in your chapter, you better refer someone to me. Mm-hmm. It's, you should refer someone. You're supposed to give a referral every week. So out of all the members in your chapter and all the members in every other chapter, you're supposed to give one referral a week. Not difficult if you're setting your mind to it. An introduction to someone who could be valuable, like a networking connection, potential referral source, is also a referral. So it's not just someone with cash in their hand ready to buy. So like we have a home inspector in our group. If I introduce him to a realtor, I am never, ever, ever, ever going to be able to introduce him to a customer, because I need to know someone in that precise moment when they're looking for a home inspector. Realtors refer home inspectors. So I refer him to a realtor that he can build a relationship with. That's a referral. I'm likewise probably never, conversation I never have. Hey, Michael, I'm thinking about selling my house. Who should I list with? I've never had that conversation. In all the years I've been networking, it has not once happened. But there might be people who do have that conversation, maybe financial advisors. So I could introduce the realtor to financial advisors I know who might have that conversation and be a steady source lead. So it's not simply that first degree of just, I sell this stuff, who wants to buy my stuff, send them to me. But it's more often, I'm looking to meet more realtors, financial advisors, massage therapists, short people, tall people, old people, young people. I'm looking to meet this type of person. And sometimes get specific. The president of a local bank would be a great connection for me because he knows the people I need to know. His name is John Smith. If anyone knows John Smith, I'd love a warm introduction to him. And someone in the room, I'd be like, oh, I golf with him. He's my golfing buddy. I didn't even realize he was the president of the bank. We don't talk about business, but yeah, I'll make a connection.
Oh, like you wouldn't know that.
Yeah, well, actually, when you're that specific, it does often happen. There's many stories of introductions that have been made where someone says, yeah, I work with that guy. I knew he worked in the manufacturing industry, but we never talked in detail beyond that. I didn't know he was the chief operating officer of this company because I didn't care. But now I know that's who you need to meet. Oh, yeah, I know him through my kids' soccer team, through golf, through we go to the gym together, whatever. There's all these different connections that aren't just business. So it's really powerful. And so that gets back to in any, going to the chamber, going to BNI, talking to somebody, doing a one-to-one, knowing what you're looking for. So yes, you're focused on giving, but you have to know what you want. So if somebody says, I'll often in a meeting, I will say, how can I help you? Who would you like to meet? And more often, more than half the time, people say, I'm sitting here with a global network. I can connect you to investors, executives, other networkers, speakers, event coordinators, people in almost any industry. And I just said, I'll introduce you to anyone you want. Who do you want to meet? And conceivably, they could email me 6 months from now and be like, hey, Michael, remember how you offered to introduce me? Could you introduce me to someone when you think of it? But so many people miss that opportunity because they don't know who they need. They don't know who they want to meet. And so something you should definitely do, if you do nothing else, if you forget everything else we say during this time, sit down and figure out who, if you could wave a magic networking wand and magically meet 5 people. And I don't mean like, oh, I want to meet Gary Vaynerchuk because he's so cool. I mean, he's cool. No, that's that reason. But 5 people who would really impact your business, not because they'd give you really great advice, but they'd actually be the connection you need that would connect you to other things or other opportunities. Figure out who they are. That 5 or that 10 or the description, at least. You may not know the name, but it may be, presidents of chambers of commerce. I'd love to meet as many of those as I could. Or, whatever it is, figure out who those people are you want to meet. Because often, most people you're talking to, if you say, hey, by the way, do you know Joe Schmo? He's a chiropractor in town. I'd love to meet with him. I think he'd be interested in learning about what we do. You talk to 20 people, one of them is probably his patient or his neighbor, or kids go to the same school, but you have to know who you're asking for in order to get it. If you don't put anything on the Christmas list, Santa doesn't bring you anything.
I'm one of those, if you'd asked me, I'm sitting here thinking, oh my God, I don't know who I'd ask. I don't know. Matter of fact, I was thinking about that when I was watching Ivan Meisner sitting there with Richard Branson. He had all together. He's been there a few times, though, to ask Richard Branson a question about business. Mm-hmm. I know I wouldn't do that. I'd just be sitting there going, I don't know. I know, right? Because, right, I met Les Brown. I stood in line for 2 hours to talk to him. And you know what I said to the man? My mother likes you a lot. I don't even think my mother knows who he is.
Yep.
What? Yeah. See, I'm afraid I wouldn't have a list either. I don't know. That's awesome.
Well, yeah. So the great thing is you're going to get to do a lot of networking in your life. You have many more chances. And your next one's coming up soon, whenever it might be. So you should get ready. figure out. And now some people they don't need anything. They're like, one of the people in our BNI chapter, he's been in business 20 years. I did this exercise. And I'm like, come up with who that is. He says, you know what? I know who I need to know. And I don't need to, I have as many clients as I need. I don't need more clients. I know everyone I need to know to fill my needs. I'm here to help others. I'm here to be a resource to others. So there's no one I need. I've got everyone I need. And if you're not trying to grow, and believe it or not, some people are at that level. They're like, I'm good. My business is where I want it to be. I don't want more. I don't want less. I'm comfortable. I'm happy to meet people, but there's no goal. I'm comfortable here, which I imagine you and probably most of your audience is like, wait, what? People get there? But so if you're actually there, I mean, you're probably not watching this podcast. You're probably not watching the show if you are. But that's one thing. But if it's simply, I don't even know. I don't know who would be next. And actually, something else I will throw out there, if I may, is that if you're really stuck and you're like, no, I don't even know how to figure it out, you can reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to you and spend 5-10 minutes and just kind of help you pick it apart there, see if I can get you started on your way. I will then ask you to buy my book because I gave you my time.
Well, it's not. Some people, I think, in the business I'm in, direct sales, seem to tend to think that anybody is a customer, and I don't think that's a good strategy either, because you want to narrow it down so you have some kind of thing you're shooting for, don't you? I know I do. Yeah. I know there's a certain type of person that normally buys from me, and there's plenty of them. So I try to narrow. I don't just say anybody would want to buy from me, because that's usually not the case. Do you think that's a good strategy, is to try to get a niche going?
Yes. Yeah. So if your target market is anybody, then your prospects are nobody.
Oh, right. That's what I think too.
I can't refer anybody to you. And I find this oftentimes, in BNI, because every week you get a minute to ask for what you want. And some people do it well. And they're like, I'm looking for John Smith. He is the president of this company. And I'm thinking, okay, do I know him? No. Do I know people who might know him? Yes. All right, let me ask them and see. But, there's certain key phrases that if I was to make BNI bingo, I'd put it on there. Realtor. I'm looking for anyone looking to buy or sell a home. I want a buzzer. I don't remember the game Taboo. It came with a buzzer in it. I just want one of those every time someone says that. Chiropractor. I'm looking for anybody with a spine. Ha ha ha. That's funny. You know what else is funny? You're not getting any referrals.
Right.
Because everybody has a spine, which means nobody. What? How am I going to refer that? Hey, Lisa, you have a spine, right? Yeah, I do. Great. I know someone you need to talk to. He's looking for people who have spines. You're like, I'm not going to talk to him. What the heck is that?
Right.
Whereas, instead, what the chiropractor will say is, I'm looking for anyone who has pain radiating from their neck down their right shoulder. That's very specific. But when you hear that, you'd be like, oh, someone told me to look for you. Did you say you have pain in your right shoulder? I do. Yeah, it kind of radiates down. Yes, I was told to look for you.
Oh God,
that's prophecy. But in your head, you're thinking, this is who he was talking about. Oh, I know he can help this guy, because it's exactly what he was talking about. And the same thing with direct marketing is, what problem do you solve? And you always want to think, like, what is the problem you solve? And then how can you help them? Because then you're looking for that. So, going back to the health things, a lot of them are actually, the way I got back into juicing was somebody sent me a sample of one of those energy powders.
Oh yeah.
And so, side note, when you send someone a sample, enclose a letter so they can contact you again.
Oh no.
I went to a fantastic virtual networking event. Huge event. It's called Strategic Alliance Live. It's actually coming up again in December. Awesome event. Should definitely go. And there was someone there with one of those health companies, and anyone who signed up, he would mail them a sample. And so I took the sample of this powder, and it was matcha and goyusa and some other stuff. And I used it like, this is amazing. This is fantastic. And I tried to get more, and I couldn't get in touch with the guy. And when I went to the website, they wanted to charge me like $70 to sign up and $50 for the powder. And I looked at the box and I said, the active ingredients are matcha and goyusa. I can just buy those. And ended up buying them on Amazon, and that's what I juice with now. And I get the same results. So if you send someone a sample, make sure that they can reach you and you follow up with them.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
A
you
way
just
to follow up. Yeah.
yep, you just
Yeah.
give them great value. But the point is, it solved the problem. A problem I have, I need more energy. Solution, this powder. If I'd been able to talk to somebody, that I'm sure they could have waived the onboarding fee or whatever, and I would have been like, cool, I'm in, let's do this. But I couldn't talk to anybody. But make sure, that's a side note. That's my random squirrel rant. But the point is, it solved a problem. So figure out what problem you solve, and then figure out who has that problem, and then ask everyone for a solution to that problem. And by the way, so I noticed there's a lot of people in the comments there. So I imagine there's a lot of people who are watching live. And one exercise that I like to do, if I may, Lisa, do
yes,
a
absolutely.
live. So this works in an actual room. It depends on how engaged people actually are in the stream, as if this will work. But I have found that it is amazing who knows who, and who knows what connections people have. So if anyone's watching at home and you're thinking, like, I'd really like to meet this person, the president of a local bank or the mayor or whatever, put either the name, if you have it, and who they are. So don't just say Joe Schmo. Say, Joe Schmo, mayor of Fishville. Put the name in the chat, in the comments there. Or if you don't have a specific person, put that description. I'm looking to meet mayors of mid-sized cities between 20 and 50,000 people, or I'm looking to meet chief operating officers of manufacturing companies that do plastics and artificial goods. Whatever it is, be specific. Don't use the word anybody. If you use the word anybody, I'm going to make that buzzing sound again. But kind of specifically put in there who you're looking for, and then everyone else look in the chat. And if you know that person they're looking for, send them a message or comment under it, or get in touch and say, hey, I know them. Because I do this in rooms as small as 6 people, 6 random people. I did a Toastmasters meeting. As I did this during a speech in a Toastmasters meeting, and I did the demonstration. I did it 3 times. I had to do it 3 times because the first 2, I just gave them the answer myself. Like, I'm looking for this. Great, I've got that for you. All right, let's try again. But the 3rd time, I didn't have the answer. Someone else in the room did. And in the feedback, they're like, that was so brave for you to do that. How'd you know it worked? It's because it always works. The average person knows 250 people. If you're in a room with 6 people, they have a combined network of 1,500 on average, and sometimes more. So if you have a breakfast club, you go out every Monday for breakfast with 5 friends, there is a decent chance those 5 people might know who you're looking for. Have you ever asked them? Have you ever asked them for the introductions of the people you want? Because everyone's got a network, not just now. I mean, I have a larger network, a more intentionally developed network than the average bear, but everyone has a network.
What's funny? I think it's not only that people assume that like everyone with a spine, everyone, like if you sell skincare, they say everyone has skin. I think the other thing people don't realize is that you should be targeting someone who has an interest in that. So I know I get approached a lot about stuff that I have no interest in. I forgot what one of it is, all natural cleaning stuff. Now I'm sorry, but that's not something I have a big interest in. But the person was condescending to me and is like, everyone has an interest in not all natural cleaning stuff, and I'm like, well, no, actually.
you seem awfully dirty. You might be interested in this.
Right. They twist it around like I'm an idiot for not being interested. That's never going to make me buy. I don't know how they ever think that's going to work. So you want to target people not just that have skin, if you're selling skincare, but have an interest in skincare. Or saying something about skincare instead of trying to condescend people into thinking they're going to buy that. I don't think that works. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, you definitely can't neg your way to a sale. That's
no.
I actually had an example of this a couple weeks ago. So I'm a father of a 7-year-old daughter, and so I can be easily suckered into any group for dads. So someone's like, "Hey, I got a group for dads trying to be better men." I'm like, "I'm in, signing up right now." I'll sign up first and then find out what's in it later. So there's this group. It's like Dads 2.0 or something. And the guy, I think he cold messaged me and said, "Hey, I've got this group for dads. You want to join it?" I'm like, "Sure, dads, of course, I'm into that." So what he sells is fitness, health and fitness. And so he messaged me after I joined the group, and he's like, "Thanks for joining the group. It's great to have you here. So tell me, what are your health and fitness goals? And I'm like,
Which,
I was over here and now we're over here. And
yeah.
I say, I don't have any. I take karate. That gives me some exercise. I juice in the morning. That gives me some health. I'm not too overweight. I have a decent amount of energy and I have no time or attention for anything else. So it is good enough and we're good. And he wasn't condescending. He was very polite, but he was confused. He's like, wait, you don't have health and fitness goals? Because most people are like, oh, I wish I was 150 pounds. I don't even wish about it. Like of course I'm a coach, so I've kind of curated my mind. So I either focus on it and set an intention and work towards it, or I don't. I don't have like I wish I was 200 pounds.
So he
Like,
was
okay.
like condescending to you because you didn't have an interest in that.
No, he's more honestly confused. But because I think most people, if you say, what weight would you like to be? They have a number that isn't the number they're at. So you can actually extract that out. But the point is, I didn't have that answer. And even if I did, I'm committed to not being committed to that. Like, unless you were telling me there's something I can do at my desk that's going to make a difference.
Well, it was still bait and switch, though. That's not what you joined.
Right. Yeah. And there was no segue. So it's one thing to say, okay, I'm gonna cast a broad net in this group, and it's gonna be valuable for dads, and I'm gonna use it to prospect for what I do. So, for example, I run a good news group in Mystic, Good News in Greater Mystic. Should I find the opportunity to find a networking coaching client or a business coaching client, I would certainly scoop them into a conversation. But I'm not going to go to everyone who joins that group and be like, tell me about your business. Do you want to grow your business? How's it going? Do you want to help some lead generate? Like, half the people are like, I don't even own a business. What are you doing? Whoa, back off. But no, I have the group because I like the idea of having the group and it benefits the community in a way. And if I can use it to network, great. And if I have something in my business that aligns with a good news message, I'm going to share it. But I understand my audience is here. Its audience is here. They may overlap occasionally. But yeah, not just be like, oh, you're in my dad's group. You obviously have fitness goals. What are they? How can I help you?
Aren't he better off just to go on with the dad conversation? And after a while, if it happens to come up that you all want to do something together as dads, doing fitness, and then wouldn't that be a natural yep. Okay.
Or to have a program for like fitness for dads, something.
Oh, call it right. And everything doesn't have to, because people will find out what you do, and that's the point. You get more people to know what you do, whether or not you end up prospecting the people in that particular group. You can still be in groups without thinking you've got to go after everybody.
Yeah. Well, right? And it's like what I do with him is I'd probably set up a program, which is his normal program for dads. So, fitness and weight loss for dads.
For dads, yeah.
And then you have a conversation maybe. And what I probably ask, because I've done a lot of this prospecting through chat, and I've actually done pretty well with it. I'd start with the question of like, what do you love most about being a dad? Start positive. And I would have shared, some things and be happy and smiling. What do you find the most challenging about being a dad? How many people do you think are going to answer that with, I don't have enough energy?
Oh, right.
Right? Not enough time, not enough energy. Time is
not enough sleep.
Yep. Sleep. If you didn't have to spend an hour resting in front of the TV because you were tired at 2 p.m, you'd have more time, right? So anyone who says not enough time, not enough energy, too distracted, too overwhelmed, too stressed out, those are all answered by fitness. So you say, what's your biggest challenge being a dad? And then they say whatever it is. They say, would you like some help with that? And they'd be like, how are you going to help me with having more energy? Well, I've got this program. It's 20 minutes a day, some simple exercises, and you'd be surprised what it does for your metabolism, your energy, blah, 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 blah. And then you will have more energy, which will give you more time with your kids or to work or whatever you need because you have more energy.
Well, you could say a few of us in the group are thinking about doing this together anyway, and instead of acting like you're targeting people.
Oh, even better. Yeah. We're getting together some of the people in the group. Or I happen to be a fitness coach and I realize that a lot of people I've talked to have said the same thing you did, and we'd like to get together. Get together a group where I can share some of my skills at a lower cost because you're in my group. And there's all kinds of ways you can do this. kind of impromptu coaching a guy who's not here. But,
we got some of my buddies on. We got Alaska, Virginia. We got Britta on this morning or this afternoon. Scott from Ohio. Scott and I do this game we play with. What was good and bad about your last business transaction? We message each other, go, you are not going to believe what just happened to me. But Scott's from Ohio. He's on. Tamara, my buddy from Michigan. Her and I just had some fun at the pool in Las Vegas. We were going to a convention. I like to go to other people's conventions. We got Penny on this morning, and let's see, someone on from Cape Cod. I can't see your name, but Concord, California, and Corpus Christi, Texas, and Maine. They're like all over the place today. Yay, yay, yay.
Yep.
And you know what? A lot of the direct sellers don't realize that networking would help them. I don't know why they get into thinking, especially in Avon, they think that one-on-one knocking a door is going to make you. Sadly, that never dawned on me to even do that, because when I was looking around, I thought, if I owned a restaurant, would I be going to one door at a time going, would you eat at my restaurant, please? I just never thought that would work if I wanted to sell full time. So I never did it, but you wouldn't believe how many people do that.
Yeah.
But networking is a way to get, to meet, to a whole bunch of people know what you do. And then 1% will want what you've got. That's my whole thing.
Yeah. Well, and you can leverage networking. I mean, that's how a number of any companies that do party-based sales, that's basically networking in a box. You're asking people to introduce you to their friends. Now, unfortunately, it's often done poorly. And
we're not known for parties either. That's not the thing. But
but there's
a lot of companies that do party plan, by the way, took off during the shutdown.
Yeah,
because they moved online. They did. And matter of fact, Bni is doing online.
Yes.
And their membership took off because a lot of people didn't want to meet in person.
Yep, our group's staying online, and I'm glad about it, because I like not having to leave the house at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah, that's that's nice. But how is the experience on Zoom for Bni actually?
So Bni is very structured, so it actually works really well. A chamber business after hours does not convert straight to Zoom. You got to do different things with the breakout rooms and structure it. Some of them tried, and not so good. Although I think one of my coaches through one of those, so I can't complain too much. But Bni converts straight to Zoom, almost no adaptations, very well, because it's a meeting where one person speaks at a time. So you can just take the Bni agenda and put it on Zoom. Now, what you have to do is if you're doing Bni correctly, following the whole system, you went to Zoom like that, no problem. If you were not doing it correctly, you had a lot of trouble, because if you're kind of sloppy in your meetings, if you were used to not actually doing one-to-ones, but just chatting before the meeting for 10 minutes and calling it a one-to-one, well, now you can't do that anymore. If you want to talk to someone, you have to actually schedule a call and do that on purpose, but that's what you're supposed to do. The chatting before and after is supposed to be bonus time to schedule one-to-ones, which is, now we have the chat, does the same thing. You can use Zoom chat for that. So I've seen some Bni chapters that I jokingly call the Wednesday morning coffee club, Thursday morning coffee club.
Because they're not really getting the job done.
They're not seriously getting it done. They're not. So with Bni, you're supposed to. So Bni, that there's five things you're supposed to do. It's the basic requirements, and not super hard. You're supposed to show up once a week. Pretty easy. Like you joined, you should show up. Pass one referral a week. This can be an introduction. This can be a hot lead. But pass one referral a week. Do one-to-one a week. That's a call. If you were in Bni, are you in Bni?
No, I'm not.
If you were, that's one-to-one.
I know quite a bit about it because of send out cards. They're all into
it. Yeah. Well, I was going to say, this would count as a one-to-one, so I want to report it if you are. But I mean, I usually do 5 one-to-ones a week, because I'll meet someone and they'll mention they're in Bni afterwards. I'm like, oh, cool, we can record this. So one-to-one a week, not hard. One CEU, which is 1 hour of either education or watching the podcast or something to learn, and bring one visitor to a meeting once a month. because if you got a network of people you like, you should probably introduce them to people. That's it. There's something called the Power of One report where they assign points. Each category gets 20 points, up to 20 points. And if you do those things, did that sound like an arduous level of engagement, Lisa?
Well, that's why I'm not in it. No, I think what's always stopped me more is, of course, I live in rural New Hampshire where I have to go a half hour to go to some 6:30 breakfast, which
they're online
I'm
now.
thinking that's not happening really. But the online things was tempting, right?
But so it's not terribly arduous, and you do that, and you have 100 on the Power of One report. And I was surprised to discover that I'm one of only 2 people in our region who has 100. A lot of people have 75, and I get 80. 80 means that you skip one CEO a week, you give one referral three times a month. Maybe you missed a meeting because you were sick or something. So
you're not even trying to be an overachiever; you're an overachiever.
That's if you get to 80 to 100, you're in a good place. But when I see people who are in the 20s, 30s, the 40s, I'm like, why are you even here? if you're at least do 1-to-1s, like that's. But there's what they call 90-minute members, and that's.
Well, and they didn't realize they were coming in for not what they were getting. That's probably a problem.
Yeah, and they show up just to the meeting, and they assume like magic's gonna, like you're. In what world could you go to one meeting for 90 minutes and business is going to come to you? How would that possibly happen? No one can get to know you that well. They don't even know what you offer in that 90 minutes because you spoke for 1 minute.
Oh, yeah.
Even I cannot speak for 60 seconds and make you say, let me send you a bunch of referrals.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so BNI is it's like an exercise routine. If you don't go to the gym, you don't get anything out of it.
Right.
If you go to the gym and you sit there in the massage chair and look at the machines, you don't get anything out of it. You have to go to the gym and then do the work.
That's a great place to learn the work too. Because now I didn't officially go to that, but I was, matter of fact, ran the chamber around here for a while, but I find myself, no matter what I'm involved in right now, is that I end up thinking that when I go in the same way that I thought about bringing value. So like if I'm sitting at a little committee meeting and somebody will be talking about something else, I'll be like, wait a minute, I know someone that does that. And I'm making connections because that's a mindset more than it was my job to make a connection at that meeting.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I almost see it as a game that if I come out of a conversation, I haven't referred them to at least one person, I have lost the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one person I was talking to the other day who was, I think he was looking for speakers or something like that. And I mentioned that and I said, okay. And I sent him an email. So I usually do email introductions. And I sent 3 introductions and I emailed them like, hey, I introduced you to A, B, and C. Sorry, I can't do more. I mean, I'd love to do more, but I've learned I will only put in so much time. I used to like go out and research. Hey, who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? And I'd then pass the referrals over, and they'd say, "Oh, sorry, never mind." So now I don't go deep into my network unless I get paid for it because. So I sent him 3 introductions. And said, "Sorry, I can't do more because that's all I can do off the top of my head." And I realized probably most people don't come out of a 30-minute call and pass 3 introductions and say, sorry, that's all I have right now. Most probably pass 0, sometimes 1. But I kind of started this. I built this guy who knows a guy thing partly by intention. I decided I'm going to be a connector, and then in every conversation, like if I'm a connector, I better make connections. Otherwise, I'm just this guy.
Now, did you happen to read the book The Go-Giver, Bob Berg?
I did.
I'm in the Go-Giver Success Alliance, and I've been in since January, but I've known Bob for years. But that is like our whole thing. Yeah, that is our thing. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. By the way, Lori from the Cape said, and she's got this right, you have to build the relationships and put in the time, because that's one thing that he's big on too with Bob Berg, is that especially like Lori and I do Avon full-time, I believe Lori too, and it's a commodity unless we're bringing value to the relationship. And a relationship, because somebody can go down the street and buy shampoo, makeup down at CVS. They're buying from us because of us.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to take the time to build the relationship. And the only way that's going to get started is more people know what you do.
So would you like to hear a strategy for how you can maintain relationships in about 10 minutes a week?
Yeah.
So the strategy involves email. Now, a lot of people don't like email as a tool because they think of newsletters and who wants to be on a newsletter. I certainly don't. But so I learned this from my friend Eli Delaney. And if you want to know more about this, I'm happy to introduce you to Eli because he's an awesome person. When you Zoom with him, it says meet cool people over his head. So if you're a cool person, happy to introduce you. And then he'll tell you the rest of this because I'm taking the copy of the copy version of it. But what the idea is that you get people onto your email list, and then you create a sequence. And on this sequence, you share useful things. At no point in this sequence do you pitch anything ever. The most you might have is something in the PS that says, if you'd like to talk more about this, I'd love to chat. Here's a link to my calendar. Here's a link to my Calendly or whatever. But you're sharing once a week something valuable. It could be a link to a YouTube video. It could be a piece of advice. Usually it's other people's stuff, not your stuff. Because if you're saying, come watch my podcast, it feels self-serving. When I do it, I will sometimes refer to my podcast, but it's not listed on my podcast. It's, I had a great conversation with this person on my podcast, and I know this conversation is good, so go listen to it. But it's all about giving value, and that's it. And what happens is people know what you do, or if they don't, that's what the PS is for. PS, I sell Avon. So if that interests you, reach out. If not, forget about this PS. Just kind of in case you don't realize it, I sell Shackley. You should know that. Not even pitching it. And with that, you might not even have a talk to me about it. Just a PS. I do sell this thing if you need it. But the whole email is here's a great pumpkin pie recipe. Here's a video of an adorable kitten. Here's something that your people you would find value that resonates with who you are. You don't want random stuff. You want your stuff. But think about during the course of the day, how many YouTube videos do you watch? You say, oh, this is great, I want to share it. Or articles you read that say, this is great, I want to share it. You put those into the sequence, and then everyone you meet, you put on that, because no one's going to object to a nice piece of content every week.
Right.
And you do that, and now you're on their radar. They may not be.
Speaking of which, you have a sign up too that we didn't mention yet.
I do indeed have a sign up. Funny you should mention that. So actually, you can go to guywhoknowsaguy.com, which I see scrolling. Right,
yes.
Go to guywhoknowsaguy.com, and the easiest way to do it is it will probably pop up asking you for your email address. But you can also go to, there's a calendar thing, and you can schedule a call with me. And I will chat with you and share as I can whatever value it might be that you're looking for. And then I'll get you into my sequence where I share all kinds of neat stuff every week, because I know lots of neat stuff. But you can schedule that call there for a brief call. And actually something I want to, again, we'll see how live and engaged the audience is here. So if you are watching this right now and you're like, oh, Michael Guy, I think he seems pretty cool, I would like to connect with him more. Then what I would like you to do is go to my LinkedIn page, which is linkedin.com/in/MWhitehouse. LinkedIn.com/in/MWhitehouse, and put in a connection request, and you can send a note, and in the note say, saw you on Monday Morning Madness. And the first 5 people who do that, just 5, because what I'm about to offer takes my time. The first 5 people who do that, I will give you a 1-hour free coaching session.
Whoa.
So,
well, you guys better run right over and do that.
Yep. So linkedin.com/in/MWhitehouse. If you don't have LinkedIn, then get it. But if you don't have time for it, you can look me up on Facebook as well. Send me a message. I will also accept that. I'll check the timestamps to see if they match. So that will also work.
Having those profiles set up, though, believe it or not, has helped me in my business. Mm-hmm. Because in direct sales or network marketing, if you're team building, believe it or not, people more and more, may just be my perspective, but people more and more shop for a sponsor. They
Yes.
say, I want to do that company, but who should I go with? They don't just go with some random person. Lots of times they research, and you want them to be able to find out about you. That's like your resume on LinkedIn.
And it
right?
makes sense because you're functionally hiring a coach. Like your
Right.
success is
Yeah,
going to be
that's true.
dependent on who your sponsor, upline, whatever they call it. That's your
Yeah.
primary leader. And if you don't have a good one, you're done. Like,
Well,
yes,
I
some
wouldn't say
people.
that. I don't have anyone. I get in
Well,
before
I
they
was about to
had
say,
that.
some people can rise above if they are exceptional, and they will succeed with or
Oh,
without.
now I like that.
But
Anytime you want to just throw out the exceptional word along with me, I'm good for that.
yes, yeah. So you're obviously exceptional. Well, and you're what, number 5, I think.
5 right now.
Yeah. So that's pretty exceptional.
Yeah.
But for the average person who's out there thinking like, okay, I think maybe I can make a go of this. You want to have someone to work with who can, who knows how to coach, who knows how to turn you into a rock star. And I've discovered through hard experience, natural born salespeople can't teach you how to sell. They're natural born. They never learned. I worked for an insurance company. My manager, natural born salesman. He grew up in Queens. It was a you learn how to be nimble on your feet or you die, literally. I didn't go through that, so he couldn't teach me because I didn't have his quick wit. I didn't have his style. I didn't have his natural charisma, and he didn't know how to sell without those things. So all he could say was like, I guess make more calls. But it's like, you don't want Michael Jordan to teach you basketball. You want Michael Jordan's trainer to teach you basketball. Michael Jordan, maybe he knows how to train. I don't know. But usually the people who are the best aren't always the best teachers. So make sure it's someone who actually knows how to, they know what they're doing. They're conscious competence and not just a natural gifted savant. Because they might not be able to replicate it in you.
Yeah, I'm not a savant. I think we all can agree on that. Lori said, this is an awesome story. Lori said, I did follow up on customers that have not ordered in 6 months or more just to say hello. And for them being a valued member for Avon Cape Cod family, and I appreciate them. And she said, hope they have fared well through the 18 months, etc. She got 480 in sales for 4 of the folks in 2 days. They were all from individual personal emails. Any way you can reach out to people individually, I think is beautiful. Of course, my favorite tool, which I've got in class right after this, is send out cards, which you probably are familiar with because of Bni. But that's a whole, between Bob Berg and send out cards, it's like the whole go giver. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Thing. Yeah. That's a great thing. Well, and I love what Lori said there. Tiffany Kellogg, who's with, there's a sister company to BNI, which is about follow up and referral building. But anyway, Tiffany Kellogg is going to be a speaker at my Global Networking Summit, which is coming up that I don't have a link for yet. But anyway, she's going to be one of our speakers, and she teaches that exact strategy. She says if you're, if things are a little stale and stalled, make, I think it's 5 how are you reach outs. And it's not to sell, it's not to you have no intention other than, hey, Lisa, how are you? And maybe you'll just say, oh, it's been great. I've been raking leaves. It's been fun. Okay, cool. Well, great talking to you. And she actually doesn't pick up the phone, but you can do it by email. You can do it any way you want. But the point is just to poke the conversation because you never know. It could turn to sales. It could also turn into them saying, oh, I'm doing this great thing I discovered. It's so cool. I started juicing. I have more energy. It's awesome. And you'll be like, really? You have the recipe for the juice? Yeah, I do. Here you go. It was technically a business reach out practice, but talking to people is good. And so rekindles those conversations. And it's simply doing exactly what Lori just said. You reach out to say, how are you doing? And, how's it been? And people love it because when was the last time somebody reached out to you to just honestly say, how's it going? And you're like, what do you want? No, I'm actually asking how it's going. Going good. Here's.
Well, then you're going to actually have to listen too. You can't just go.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Let me tell you something. Yeah. Yes. I'm surprised always that people don't. I know I took classes where they taught listening and all that too. And I thought it was stupid at the time. And now I realize that one of the things that I can give other people is to listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
That is a gift that I can give I didn't need a lot of skill for. As long as I shut my mouth, I can sit there and listen until they're done talking.
Yes.
And that's people feel better about you, and people buy from people they know, like, and trust.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the easiest way to make people feel that about you is to listen to them.
And the amazing thing about that, so I have gotten, I would estimate $100,000 of free coaching by doing what you just said. I met a lot of amazing coaches. We're talking $2,000 an hour coaches at Strategic Alliance Live, and we did a follow up call. And it's just supposed to be a networking call, just to see where we might help each other out. And the thing about coaches, and Lisa, you probably know this, we can't not coach. If you have a problem in my presence, I'm gonna try to help you. I don't care if you're paying me. I can't be like, well, you got a problem. Sucks to be you. Yeah. Like, okay, let me see how I can help you. And so all these amazing people, and so we'd be talking, and we'd be trying to figure out, where we might partner or whatever. And they'd start asking me, because they're coaches, they're asking, how are things going? What's your target audience? Blah, blah. And I might mention, like, oh, I'm not really entirely sure about target audience. And suddenly they're giving me what is, I imagine, a practice sequence of questions, an exercise to help discover it, or to help discover a sales strategy, or, they're helping with all these things. And I'm sitting there like, wow, this guy is doing this for me for free right now. As well as doing it on my podcast, because then there's exposure. But they'll do it on a private Zoom call. And I think it's because instead of me trying to talk and be like, look how smart I am, because I'm not going to impress them with how smart I am, because they're here. I'm not to their level. I'm pretty good. But the great thing about being a networker is my strength is the strength of others, so I don't need to have an ego. But so instead of trying to show them how cool I am, I was just like, keep talking. Yeah, tell me more. Yes. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Tell me more. And so they're getting that feedback of like, wow, this guy's really listening. And I think that's why I've had so many of them, they, and at the end of the call, I'm thinking like, well, that was a lucky break that they did that. They'd say, yeah, let's set up a call for next month. I'm like, I'm sorry. There's another one? You're going to talk again? But I think if I'd talked over them, if I disagreed with them, if I'd argued with them, there wouldn't have been a second call, because I wouldn't have gotten anything out of the first one. And they would have been like, all right, well, good talking to you. Get the heck out of here.
Yeah, Tamara said she couldn't find your LinkedIn, but she sent you a Facebook message. All right. He's on Messenger. So maybe, because you're not connected with Tamara, you may want to look in your spam folder to make sure, because Messenger, that's a problem. But Tamara's from Michigan.
Tamara from Michigan. Let's see.
Yes. Tamara Noe, N-O-E. So
there she is.
Yes, indeedy. Yes, indeedy.
So it looks like on desktop, they have actually moved the
spam folder
message requests back into the front. On the phone, it's still in the back, but it'll give you a little notification number.
Yeah.
But it looks like on desktop, I've had a couple of those where it'll show up with the name and message requests. It's not someone you know.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, that gets confusing always.
Yep. But yeah, so Tamara is right there in my messages feed.
Yay! So. Yeah, you'll love Tamara. She's a buddy of mine.
Awesome.
Hey. So now we're getting down to the last couple minutes here. So would you do me a favor too, is when you do have your event up and running,
yes.
I added you to Monday Morning Madness, the group. Mm-hmm. If you would put that information out, because that way people that were watching today and watch the replay can partake in your event.
Yes, I will definitely let you know. Yeah,
so if you'll put the announcement out there, that would be awesome.
The summit's going to be in February. We've got about 30 speakers.
That's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, I say about 30 because we have 34 signed up, but a couple have gone non-responsive. So we'll see how many actually get recorded. But so about 30 speakers, and then live networking as well. So you can attend for free to get all the content on the day of. And then there's an upgrade for only $97, get you recordings of all the content and access the networking for 3 evenings, and then a 24-hour around the globe networking marathon on the 24th.
Wow.
24 hours on the 24th. We didn't plan it that way. It just happened to land on the 24th. But I'm like, wait, 24 hours of networking is on the 24th. Amazing. It's a global networking summit, and I'll definitely share it in the group and everywhere else when
That's awesome.
I have that up, because that'll be, I think a lot of you guys will enjoy that.
And I have one last question for you.
Yes.
Okay. Is it cookies, brownies, or sea salt caramels today? What is your favorite?
I will go with Brownies if there is ice cream involved. Brownies
Oh.
and ice cream.
No, there's no ice cream. This is send out cards, don't forget.
Oh, well, the last time I got brownies, I can go
Yeah.
buy ice cream.
Okay, I'll do brownies
So,
then. And I'll make sure to send enough so Amy can have some too if she wants.
yes.
How about
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
Wait. Yeah, Amy likes sea salt covered. No, I'll go with the brownies. I like them, and because if she gets them, then she'll be like, "Oh, you've tempted me with food." So, yes, yeah,
I
I'll
was
get the
just thinking,
brownies.
I
I'll get the
hope that you
brownies, and I will
realize
eat them with the ice cream.
not to always have your coach hat when you have your husband hat on, because I'll tell you, even though I'm team single, right? I do know that sometimes women don't want their problem solved; they just want you to hear it. So don't always be the coach when you're the husband.
Oh no, I definitely know that one. But by not bringing in the temptation, you don't have to deal with the temptation. So.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Brownies and ice cream.
Well, thank you very much. And this is going to go up on YouTube along with your link, of course. I really appreciate the time you spent with us today. And make sure you run over and contact Michael, because he said 5 people. Oh, the dog just opened the door. That's why I'm suddenly in the sun. Okay. Anyway, thank you so much. If you stay right there for a second, I will end the broadcast.
All
Thank
right.
you, everybody.